A lot of us don't have that courage. A lot of us will look at our friends, will look at our worldly possessions, we'll look at all the things that we have, and we're unwilling to lose them, unwilling to make sacrifices, unwilling to go into a new area of change and new beginnings, because we're scared, or maybe we're really comfortable. We're in a spiritual sleep. We're in a spiritual sleep and we don't want to wake up. And we'll use that as an excuse to not push on forward. We'll think, oh, I'm young now. Let me just have my time to while it out, and I'll change later. But we're here living on borrowed time. And what are you doing with that time? Welcome to Printing 101. My name is Darvini, and I am your host. So today, or I guess usually I have my brother on here with me off camera, but today he's not able to be here. But he'll be back next week. But the show must go on. So for today's episode is a letter to the lukewarm. So we're going to be talking about purpose, gifts. What does it really mean when we talk about living to serve, and talking about like living for Jesus during crazy times like this. So yeah, hopefully you enjoy. If you're watching this, please like, comment, and subscribe. Like, actually, please, because you know, this is new, this is fresh. I don't really have much of an audience, so it will be very, very helpful and very much appreciated if you share this to somebody. I don't know, share with me your thoughts, comments, concerns, and yeah, let's just get into it. Okay, so what does it mean to be lukewarm? Lukewarm is a term that was coined in the Christian community to describe somebody that isn't on fire for God. So either you're hot, lukewarm, or cold. If you're cold, you're not there at all. Hot, like you're on fire. You've dedicated your life to Him and all the things. Lukewarm is like you've got one foot in and one foot out. You know that song? I forgot. I think it's called No Gray by Jonathan McReynolds. Beautiful song. And he says like, Lord, I'm split in two. Part of me loves the word and the other loves you. So what do I do? Yeah, that's a great description of what that really means. And so when you're lukewarm, you'll say things. We'll ask, okay, why won't you take your relationship with God more seriously? Why aren't you on fire? And they'll say things like, oh, I gotta work on my relationship with God. I know, but like I'll work on it when I want to work on it. I believe in Jesus, but I'm not Christian. I wouldn't call myself religious, but that's what I believe. Talking about, oh, I can have my cake and eat it too because you only live once. I don't know, so many other things, right? There's like a myriad of reasons as to why somebody will be lukewarm. And I would say to that, I guess one of the best ways to get out of that area of being lukewarm is genuinely questioning yourself. Like, okay, for one, why are you lukewarm? What's your reason? Number two, what is keeping you there in that area? Is it fear? Is it fear as in, oh, like I'm afraid, oh, if I start posting these Bible verses, then all the hoodlums are going to run away. If I start giving my life to Jesus, then people are going to look at me differently. People are going to look at me like I'm crazy. Or is it comfort? Like, oh, I'm comfortable where I'm at right now. I don't want to have to proclaim my faith to the whole world for people to start holding me accountable to the things that I say. Like, sometimes there's a myriad of reasons. So what is holding you back? Are you comfortable? Are you scared? Or do you just not care? And so that would be one. The next portion is like when we start talking about purpose and gifts. So if you're anything like me, so I guess for a little bit of background, I'm in my senior year in college at UMass Dartmouth, and my major is operations management supply chain, which has absolutely nothing to do with this. And so as you can imagine, I'm someone that deeply struggled with finding a sense of purpose and also utilizing my gifts, because I am someone that is highly artistically inclined, but the things that I'm studying has nothing to do with the gifts that I was given. So therefore I became, quite overwhelmed and just confuzzled about what I should really do with my life, because I have this calling over my life, but I don't know what to do with it. And in my state of being lukewarm, I was just like, I always had the calling that I should do something with this creativity. I should maybe explore it. But because I was lukewarm and I didn't trust the Lord, because I knew like very much that it was God that was putting these things on my heart, but I just always pushed it away because I wasn't there in my relationship with him. Yeah, I wasn't trusting him. I didn't trust him. He was saying to me, because I was coming up with all types of excuses as to why I couldn't execute the ideas that he was giving me. So I was like, forget about it. Like, I'm just not going to go there. I don't want to go there. Yeah. Yeah, I just kept on saying all the things, all the reasons as to why I wasn't going to. And a lot of us have a difficult time recognizing our gifts, right? Because we live in a day and age where a gift has to be loud. It has to be bold, and in front of a camera to be validated and recognized. When that's not true at all. Some people say like, oh, I can't sing, I can't dance, I can't paint. But like having a gift isn't exclusive to creativity. You can have a gift, and that gift can be specific to, all right, you got an eye for organization. You have a way with talking to people. You have a way with seeing things in people that they may not be able to see in themselves. There are different gifts that people will have. But I guess like in the Bible, what are some biblical gifts that they talk about? Let me just take a look. Okay, so some gifts that the Bible talks about. All right, it says in 1 Corinthians chapter 12, talks about, Paul lists the following spiritual gifts: words of wisdom, words of knowledge, faith, gifts of healing, working of miracles, prophecy, distinguishing spirits, various kinds of tongues, interpretation of tongues. But in the Bible, there are seven main spiritual gifts. It talks about wisdom, understanding, counsel, fortitude, knowledge, piety, and fear of the Lord. So God uses He gives us our abilities, but our abilities mean nothing to him without our availability to him. So he can give us, say, for an example, the gift of understanding, and that can be communicated through music. That can be communicated, or that can show up as being a really, really good listener, and being able to articulate emotions in a way that most people can't. You can verbalize thoughts and complex feelings in a condensed and tangible way for other people to understand. So that could be an example of a gift that isn't necessarily creative, but just as important as any other gift. But something that I've talked to my friends about in the past, and something that I have even explored myself, was knowing that without me operating in my purpose, without me using my God-given gifts, I'm not walking in my purpose if I am not utilizing those gifts. So here I am chasing after a career. I'm trying to make money, trying to stay alive, and I'm doing what I have to do to get from today to tomorrow, because I do want a future for myself. But then here's this. Here is this creative mind, this artistic mind, and I have no idea what to do with it, because realistically, like, let's be for real here, I'm Haitian. And so I don't get to just say, oh no, I'm not going to school. Let me just go pursue this music career. Let me go pursue this and that. And just not, because I understand why, because my parents came from like essentially nothing. Very poor backgrounds. So for them, it's like, why would you not take advantage of this opportunity that I'm giving you, the gift of education? Why would you not? So that option is not available to me as it is to other people. So I had to figure out a way that I could make use of my gifts, make use of my creativity, and not let it go to waste, because I can see very clearly that and my purpose are interconnected or intertwined. Which brings us to our next point. We live to serve. So last week I had posted some questions on the Q&A, and somebody, or I guess I put up a Q&A box, and somebody asked me, it was Tara. Hey Tara, love you girl. So Tara had asked me, what is my favorite story in the Bible? What's my current favorite parable in the Bible? And as of right now, it's the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And also Daniel. Because every time I read that story, I always find something interesting, which is why I particularly and purposefully wrote down the point, we live to serve. So you can find the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in between Daniel chapters 1 through 3, where it talks about what happened. But I'll give you a Cliff Notes version of that story. So the story of Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So it was these four guys that the king basically kidnapped them. He took them, stripped them of their identity, took away all that they were, changed everything about them, re-educated them, retaught them the new ways of life, and said to them, that you will serve me and you will serve the gods that I serve. Hold on, y'all, let me go back. So the king had a dream. And he needed somebody to interpret it. And he was calling upon astrologers, which I thought was super interesting, because we be looking to our zodiac signs for everything. But anyways, he was looking to astrologers and magicians and sorcerers and different wise men to interpret this dream for him. And so, but nobody could interpret the dream for him. So much so that the astrologers had said, let me go find what they said. They had said, I had to bring up my Bible for this. They said, the king's demand is impossible. No one except the gods can tell you your dream, and they do not live here among people. So they did serve gods. So I guess that's an arrow pointing to polytheism, in case you didn't know. That's what astrology is based off of. I'll put it up here on the screen somewhere. What polytheism is basically the beliefs in multiple deities, different gods and things like that. And so the astrologers had said that, our gods can't help you. And basically, the king had sent out an order to execute all the wise men in the kingdom if nobody was able to help him to interpret his dream. So here come Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And God had given Daniel the special gift of interpretation and dreams, I guess interpreting dreams. And so he was able to tell the dream, tell the king his dream, and then alongside with his three buddies, who also believed in the same God as him. So these men told the king what his dream meant. The king rejoiced, and he said, and he was like, oh, bow down before my gods. Like, he showered them in gifts and adoration, special food, special everything. He made Daniel like this big chief and whatnot. And then, but he had one request for them. He said that you shall serve the gods that I serve. And these guys were like, hey, no. And I just want to quote, what they had said. They had said this. Ooh, sorry. It says, they said, okay, in Daniel chapter 3, verses 16 through 18, it says, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego replied, O Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to defend ourselves before you. If we are thrown into the burning furnace, the God whom we serve is able to save us. He will rescue us from your power, your majesty. But even if he doesn't, we want to make it clear to you, your majesty, that we will never serve your gods or worship the gold statue that you have set up. What a word. What a word. So let's see. What I wanted to highlight in this is that their circumstances and their surroundings did not change what they believed. Their circumstances and their surroundings did not change who they were. So the king stripped them of their identities, took away everything. And they knew that not only were they risking their lives, that if they were to defy the king, that they would be thrown into the fire, which is what happened. And but they were also risking their friendship. Like, imagine this, everybody's in line, everybody's supposed to follow and listen to the king, and if your friend act up, you're gonna get got too. But they all together defied the king and said, no, we will not serve your gods. No, we will not bow down. Everybody else bowed down except for them. The king wanted them to worship a golden statue, which was one of their gods, and they were like, no, absolutely not. And what happened next was, what happened next, it's like, I look like I'm telling some type of tea, but like, the Bible just be having the darndest stories. Who needs soap operas? Who needs euphoria when you got the Bible? So they were thrown into the burning furnace. And the soldiers that threw them in, those three soldiers that threw them in, the fire was so hot that it burned them alive, and the three soldiers died. But the three men that were thrown into the furnace were alive. They came out. They didn't even smell like smoke or anything. And so I want to draw this back to our present day realities. We let our circumstances and our surroundings change us all the time. I said to my friend the other day, I said, I feel like if everybody was blind, there's a lot of things that we wouldn't do. We have eyes to see, and so we see what goes on social media, and we start to change ourselves to conform and to fit a certain aesthetic and to fit a certain type of way of life. Like, if we did not have eyes to see, there's so many people that wouldn't do the things that they do. There's a lot of people that just do the things that they do because everybody else is doing it. That's what they see with their eyes. And so it's honestly quite toxic. You start to feel less than, or you start to feel that you are missing something in your life because everybody else has something that you don't. Like, I'm in college right now. I am not in Dubai. I'm not traveling the world. I live with my parents. I don't live by myself. I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, all the glorified ways of living that is projected online is not everybody's standard of living. But when it's constantly in your face all the time, you start to feel like it is. Which brings us to the next point, where I wrote down, God will meet you where you are at. Our lives don't have to be a certain type of way. I know that a lot of people, I guess I'm going back a little bit to the gifts portion. A lot of people feel that, oh, I need to have this, that, and a third to be able to serve God. I need to have this, that, and a third to be able to come to him. I don't have scripture memorized. I don't know the Bible like I know the back of my hand. God will use you where you're at. God needs nail techs. God needs basketball players. God speaks to people in different ways, and he, like, real quick, I had to add this as I was editing it. I just want to make it clear that God is wherever his people are. God is not just limited to the physical building of a church. So therefore, when I say that God needs nail techs or basketball players, he's going to use you throughout everything that you do to be able to speak to his people. If the God that split the Red Sea, if the God that walked on water, if the God that died on the third day and rose again, in accordance to the scriptures, if he's able to do all of those things, then what is this in comparison to all the things that he has done before for us? What are our burdens? What are the things that trouble us in comparison to all the things that he's done before? Matthew chapter 17, verses 20 through 21 says, "You do not have enough faith," Jesus told them. "I tell you, if you had faith even as small as a mustard seed, you could say, 'Move to this mountain, move from here to there,' and it would move. Nothing would be impossible." The whole point is that God will use you, but he's not going to use you against your will. He was going to use you where you at, so long as you invite him in. So that is that portion. That being said, that brings me to my fourth and final point, which is being content where you are. What does it mean to be content where you are? It means, the other day when I was talking to the elders, because I am in a Bible study with two elders and a girl from my life group, where we talk about a lot of different things. We have really fruitful and great conversations. And at the end of our devotions, our Bible study, she asks, does anybody have a praise report or a prayer request? And my praise report was this. I said to them, for the first time ever, I can be in a difficult time of life. I can go through something challenging and still maintain my faith, which is huge. I can still, what's the song that where it was like, I still have joy in chaos. I've got peace that makes no sense. So that, like, joy in chaos, guys, my nails are so cute. But joy in chaos and peace that makes no sense in comparison to like the people around me, right? Any outsider would see my circumstances and think, oh, like they would see me and feel pity. And my circumstances is I've been going through a difficult time. I think I was talking a little bit about that last week, about how I've been having a hard time balancing life, the everyday ebbs and flows of it. And I was saying, for the first time ever, like I can still go through something hard and recognize that I am blessed. I can go through something difficult and recognize I can still find peace. I can still be happy because I know that God is going to get me through it. That this only sucks for now. This is only my circumstance now, but God can turn it, and he can turn it around for me. So let's see. Yeah, being content where you are. Don't feel pressured that you have to do a certain thing to come to God, or that you have to do a certain thing for God to see you. He sees you right where you are at, and he will accept you as you are. It doesn't really matter how much you have done. A lot of us will make excuses like, oh, surely like God is gonna come and he's going to condemn me for all the wrong things that I've done, when I guess that's a lie. That's a lie from the pits of hell. And honestly, he honors those. He honors those that humble themselves before him enough to come for him to say, enough to come before him and say, God, I need you. Yeah. So that's my letter to the lukewarm. But if we learn anything from Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, we need to learn how to stand on the things that we stand for. If you stand for the Lord, you need to really put your money where your mouth is. You can't say one thing and do another. You can't look and judge someone without examining the things that you do too. And that's scripture. I don't know where it is. I'll find it just for y'all, and I'll put it right here. Bow. But there's a scripture where it talks about you cannot remove a plank from your brother's eye if you have a plank in your eye too. That like these three men were bold enough to stand before the king and say no. They were bold enough, even though it would cost them everything. A lot of us don't have that courage. A lot of us will look at our friends, will look at our worldly possessions, we'll look at all the things that we have, and we're unwilling to lose them, unwilling to make sacrifices, unwilling to go into a new area of change and new beginnings, because we're scared, or maybe we're really comfortable. We're in a spiritual sleep. We're in a spiritual sleep, and we don't want to wake up. And we'll use that as an excuse to not push on forward. We'll think, oh, I'm young now. Let me just have my time to while it out, and I'll change later. But we don't know what tomorrow brings. Today could be your last day. You could go to sleep and not wake up. And then what? A lot of us don't recognize that we're here living on borrowed time. We're here living on borrowed time. And what are you doing with that time? When I first started asking myself these questions, it threw me down into a little spiral. I actually cried, and I was like, I don't know what to do with myself. I don't know what my life is gonna look like. But what reassured me was knowing that God would be with me throughout all the things that I do, everything that I do, this whole career situation, this podcast, everything and anything that I do, that he will be with me through it. And for that, and because of that, I will be prosperous. And so that's the word that I put over my life, and that's the word that I want to share with you. And hopefully you receive it, and you receive it well, that you may pray the same thing, and that you will grow in the same way. If you're afraid, if there's anything holding you back, but you're not quite sure what it is, pray to God and ask him to reveal it to you so that he may help you, so you can move forward and make some progress. Man, I guess this episode was a bit heavier than the other ones. But I hope that it was still good. I hope that you received it well. Yeah. Don't let the world take who you are. Don't let the world change and make you into somebody that you're not. I guess that concludes this video. Please, oh God, please share with your friends. Please share with your friends. Please like, comment, subscribe. I'm going to post a thing on my Instagram story for some more questions. Thank you to everyone that submitted something. Special shout out to y'all. If I know, just for the sake of time, I don't want to talk your ear off. So I'm not going to put in every single question, but I know somebody, Summer had said like, oh, why are you so pretty? And I was like, somebody asked me something random about China. I don't remember the question. I can go look, but somebody asked me something about China. It was Gaspard. And then Tara, she's the one that gave me the idea for Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego. So shout out to her. That gave me my inspiration for this. So yeah, thank you so much for listening. Have a blessed and wonderful week. Bye, y'all. Something I was thinking too about that whole social media thing, that whole social media thing about people letting the world dictate your ebbs and flows of life. I was thinking like, Kite moun pran la vie ou pou chanje la. Wap ket an kon George. Kite moun jwe. Kite moun jwe nan figi ou. Shout out to my girls that have a people-pleasing problem. I know what it feels like. I see you. I feel for you. And I love you.
You good? Hold on, wait now, let me go tell you about Jesus.